Well, partner, welcome to another episode of our podcast. We got some great guests here today.
We do.
Still in the community, dealing with that partnership with our community, even though they work with the Chesterfield County Emergency Center, Communication Center. But again, we got some great folks that are going to be interviewing today, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk in policing, and one aspect of what we do in public safety are our emergency communications officers.
Right,
it's a really
right.
stressful job. People have perceptions just like of what we do based on television, but it's a 24-hour day, 365-day-a-year job. I mean, they don't get to call out during tornadoes or natural disasters or holidays. They are the lifeline between the community and whoever they're dispatching to.
And police. I mean,
Right.
again, recently I had an incident where I had my need to call, of course, 911 for an emergency that I had. So again, they were very professional. Walked me through a situation that I was in. So again, I'm looking forward to the conversation and the relationship that we have with them as police officers. They're part of our family.
Yes, we have two of our emergency communications employees here today. Mary Binford, who's our programs manager, and Sierra King, one of our assistant supervisors in ECC, is how we refer to our Emergency Communications Center.
It is.
Throughout this podcast. And we want them to start by introducing themselves. Let's start with you, Ms. Binford, and tell us a little about yourself. How'd you end up in communications? How long have you been there?
And where are you from?
I originally hail from Prince George County, so I wasn't too far away. I really got into public safety when I was in high school. I started volunteering with the rescue squad, and I really had that love of helping people and individuals, and I just kind of carried that over. I worked as a field medic for a while, and then I realized I really like shelter and bathrooms and access to warm meals when needed, because I worked for Richmond Ambulance, so we were out in the field. We didn't have any stations. So once I saw the job open up for communications, I thought I'd give it a try, and it worked out. I've been there almost 13 years now.
Oh, wow.
Now, is your family, are you a legacy employee? I mean, did your family work in public safety, or was this new to you? You're the first.
No, I am the first. My stepdad was a firefighter.
Okay.
And,
So
but
public
no,
service.
yeah, he did some public safety, but he was not a fan of riding the boo-boo bus, so
Right.
he definitely wasn't really steering me in that direction.
And how long have you been in communications now?
Almost 13 years.
13. Good.
Wow.
Good.
That go by fast.
Yeah. And the other person we have here is our assistant supervisor, Sierra King. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, Sierra King. I've been with the communications department for about 6 years now. I got into it after graduating from VCU. I was a social work major, looking for jobs, out of college, and saw this career and thought I could apply, crisis intervention skills, some of the skills I've learned in schooling, to the position, and it's paid off.
That's good.
So again, in getting into, the position itself, and you have to have a passion for people, helping people, and I understand that as in law enforcement. But give me some of the everyday, just to go through the qualifications first. Let's go through the training that you have to go through. Who wants to start with that?
So, Mary, if one was to apply, had an interest, how do you even start that process?
So we actually are opening up a process starting June 7th, and it's going to remain open until July 4th. You can go to www.chesterfield911.com, and it'll take you to a link in order to apply. Some of the qualifications that we look for are people that are going to be 18 by date of hire. Now, this process we're going to be looking to hire in October. Have a high school diploma or GED by date of hire. Some of the things that they need really good listening skills. They need to be able to multitask. What we do is very fast-paced. It could change at any minute. You could be having a very slow night and then something automatically pop off. So you have to be able to go with the flow. That's important. Obviously, we work with a lot of equipment, computers. You have to be able to wear the headset that we use. We also require you be able to type 30 words per minute, which it's not that difficult. But if you don't know how fast you type, you can get online and just go to like a free typing test and try. Whenever we have people say, what do I need to do to apply, or what do I need to do, what can I work on? There's not a whole lot that you can work on, but if you do want to see how fast you can type, you can find those resources online just to see. We also look for good work history, because that's huge. We have people that work 8, 12-hour shifts, and when they're ready to go home, they want to go home. And once we have somebody call out, because we always have to staff the center, it affects our other employees. So somebody has to stay if somebody else doesn't come in. So work history is very important.
Okay. So that website again, we really want to get this across to our listeners, is chesterfield911.com.
Correct.
Just simply go there and you can apply their process.
Now, is that one time a year, 2 times a year? How do you, is that continuous?
It's not continuous. Currently, we're just going to do this 4-week session, and then we are looking at doing another process mid-October.
Okay.
Mid-August.
And how long is the hiring process?
The hiring process can be very long sometimes because of the access and the information that we see. We really have to vet our employees. So it could take anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks to get hired from date of application, because we have to do a very thorough background investigation on you.
So you are going to do a background investigation on that person before they move forward in the process and before they get hired. We don't hire and then complete the background after they are already in that position.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay. That works.
Okay, so now, once we get through the background, you now have chosen 2 or 3 people to be coming aboard. Let's go through some of the training they have to go through.
So they start off in a new hire academy. We have an amazing training facilitator. It's a classroom environment. That's more Monday through Friday. It can run anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. It really depends on how many people we have in the academy. After you go through that, you go to on-the-job training. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. You can be assigned any shift to train on. So where the academy setting is Monday through Friday, typically weekends off. When you get on-the-job training, you work the same schedule that you will when you're actually in it and doing the job. On-the-job training, you're going to be sitting side by side and then with the trainer, and then they get farther and farther away. It takes about 30 working days to complete training on phones, and then it'll take another 30 days on your radio specialty, and we either train on police or fire.
Okay, so you don't have dual training. You either work one side of the house or the other.
That's correct. You're either fire or police specialty, and everybody is able to answer 911 calls.
Okay. So once they get out of the training and they come to the floor, Sierra, do you have a lot of contact with people in training on the floor as a supervisor?
Yes, supervisor, I do. We essentially help to oversee the training. The training is done by their trainer, primary trainer, backup trainer, and then we're at the end of the day reviewing evaluations to make sure all the marks were met, that everything is signed off, all paperwork's there. If there are any things of concern, that they're addressed properly and in a timely manner.
Okay.
Okay.
And when people are assigned to either the fire side of the house or the police side, who makes that decision? Can they have a preference, or is that made by management?
Management and the training facilitator kind of work together in order to establish what side of the house they're going to work. It's kind of based on what and how you do in the academy, and then our needs on the floor also.
Right. And how many people do you all have working at a shift?
It really varies. So day shift, we have a very minimum of 13. Evening shift, a minimum also of, it's going to be 14. And then on midnights, we have 10.
Okay.
And are they permanent shifts? If I finish everything, all of my training, and it's on midnight, do I stay on midnight for a year, or how's that?
It really depends on where we need the people. We could keep you on that shift until we do our shift change again, but a lot of times we will go ahead and move you where we need you at that time.
Okay.
So I know you said initially that we have an open application process going on right now, and there's a cutoff for that application. If someone was interested outside of the application date, do you have a recruiter or somebody they could reach out to?
Good point.
Yeah, they can absolutely go on that website. There's an email address. They can email me directly, binfordm@chesterfield.gov. I would be happy to talk to anybody interested in applying.
Okay, so they can contact you directly, or they could go on the website.
Correct.
So let's get to the juicy stuff.
Yes. Because I watch 911.
I do too.
I watch 911. That's a good show.
And
It's a
I
really
know
good show.
that talking to people on the phone can be extremely stressful.
Yes.
Why do you like this job? I mean, what is up with that? You're working 365 days a year. You are missing family events, great pool days during the summer.
Sometimes missing family events is
Why
not
is
a
it-
bad
sometimes
thing.
it's not a bad thing. Yeah. You're right. It's great to have that excuse sometimes. But why do you like the job? What makes you continue to do this 13 years and 6 years respectively? Why have you stayed?
And dealing with people at the worst time of their lives, calling 911.
you get to help somebody every single day that you go in, and it might be something as minor as helping somebody that needs to find out where to call to pay their taxes, or who they need to go to pay their utility bill. Or it could be something much more serious. We could be giving CPR instructions over the phone to help save a loved one. We try to do a lot of recognition for our ECOs, especially when they do amazing work, and they do a lot of amazing work.
Right. Sierra, did you?
I'd say for me, it is that getting to be there in a crisis, for others. Those crisis intervention skills are huge, not only for the citizens, but for our first responders that are actually out in the field. Is a big thing, and your day is never necessarily the same.
Right.
You never know what you're going to run into. You get to meet so many personalities over the phone.
Or in the office.
Or, also in the office. Also in the office, but it's a beautiful thing being able to reach out to your community like that.
Well, the relationship that you have with first responders. I know back in the days, we used to come over and meet some of the voices that we hear in law enforcement. And I'm putting that to the point of, what do we do together? I mean, you pretty much give me a guideline in my calls. I remember, going on one call and said, this person has a history of violence. So that you're giving me some history of that person. Do you still do that now in officers coming over and saying thank you for helping us out, or thank you for recognizing the situation I was going into? That's what I'm trying to say.
We see it some now, some stop in. We don't have as many stop in now that, certain forms and stuff don't actually have to physically be brought in, more so emailed.
True.
But you'll get it sometimes over the phone. You'll get it through a cat message. Appreciate that. Help on the call. So it still happens, I think, to an extent, just in a different format.
Right, because y'all are family. Y'all are family. That means everything to us.
COVID has also impacted that a little bit.
Yeah.
And we know it's a stressful job. So how do you deal with the stress of the job? I mean, not every incident that comes into your center has a positive outcome, or the outcome that you would have preferred.
Sometimes we don't even know the outcome of the call.
Right.
That can be frustrating sometimes too.
Yes. How do you deal with the stress?
I think it's important, especially when you have a big incident happen, that you get with, peer support, or you get SISM. We have those available to our people. So that's just upfront, we have that. But also I encourage all the employees, all of my coworkers, everyone I work with, self-care is very important. I'm very serious about it. I don't play any games about it. And I encourage everybody to take the time to do that, to carve out the time, to figure it out. And I always, a lot of us there will help you out with it if you need help figuring out what to do. For me, it's being able to paint. I discovered in self-care that I enjoy painting, abstract painting.
Okay.
And so that's one of my things. But reading, taking some time, shopping a little here or there. Before COVID, Richmond's
your favorite in that shopping.
That's my favorite. There's
retail
shopping
therapy.
here and there.
Before COVID, Richmond is a foodie city, so
okay.
I like to eat, go and try in different restaurants, just whatever you can do that appeals to you is important.
Right.
Because you can't pour from an empty cup, and I do appreciate and believe by that.
I got a little Christian in you there. Asking you, family-wise, what do you do to keep that bond with your family? As law enforcement, I try to keep my wife engaged in what I'm doing, where I'm at, what things are going on. So how do you handle your family part of your job?
For me, it's scheduling.
Okay,
Scheduling is
there you
everything.
go.
I schedule in to see my family and to see my friends because we do have a set schedule that is demanding and does require of you. Just scheduling outside of that to make sure I'm giving everybody time and that I'm getting time with them is the thing that works for me.
Okay.
That's good. Mary, do you have anything that you do to deal with stress?
So my husband actually works for the police department, and to talk to Sierra's point, scheduling is huge. We used to keep a shared calendar in order to keep, his court dates and what I did, and we worked various shifts. One of the benefits that we had when we worked shift work is we never had to really pay for childcare. That was a huge bonus because childcare is so expensive. So we worked opposite shifts and we scheduled time together. As far as doing things for self-care, we were really big on just spending time together, and you really have to carve out that time. You have to be a really good communicator and make sure you're in tune with your family in order to make that happen and work.
Well, it's good to hear that both of you have self-care outside of work,
Right.
but also that you are aware and your employees are aware they peer support program and the other programs, the EAP programs that we have, that we want our people to be successful. We want you to have a good work-life balance.
Right, right. And again, not getting specifically about names and all, what's some of the calls that really you go through and you're like, I need to sit down and talk to my supervisor, that a young person will go through? And can you share?
We have, you never know what you're going to get. You have people who have just gotten shot. You
Okay.
have people who need CPR, who are you're walking them through CPR on their infant. You have people who walk in and their loved one has committed or attempted suicide. And it can be right after you take a barking dog call.
Right. Oh,
So
wow.
the lows to the highs, I think, are what probably grab people the most and shock you the most. And that's something that you have to be prepared for. There are ways to deal with it, but just be prepared.
And is that part of your training that you do, or are you looking for that person that can handle situations of stress and then coming back to
That's a little bit of both, because you don't know how you're going to react to a situation until you're actually in the trenches with it. We are a huge family because we do go through tragic incidents, and we really have to use teamwork in order to get through some of the incidents. We work together, we look out for one another. Everybody has everybody's cell phone number. You call and check on them after something like that happens. But that's very important to us. We also have other partner agencies where if something happens that is involving our center, we can call from outside resources in order to come in and kind of help us through it.
Now, we're going through a new system, and if you don't mind bringing that up, 'cause I think I had training on it the other day.
You think you did?
I think I did. Yeah, I'm so glad I retired, because I don't have to deal with it right now.
We've had a reconfiguration of our beat structures
Exactly.
and opening up our
Now-
Fallon Creek Station.
Exactly. Now, is that going the way you want? And again, not saying it's bad or good, but how are we adjusting to that for our dispatchers? And sending out officers and
It's an adjustment, but because we're all going through it together, I think we're able to find kind of common ground. An officer might forget his new call sign.
That would be me.
I wasn't trying to call you out on it.
That was me.
Yeah, and the new beat structure, I mean, that's new for everybody too, so we're all kind of in it together. We're really excited about the new CAD system, the computer-aided dispatch system that we use. It's a learning curve,
okay.
but ultimately, I think it's going to be for the better. We love technology, and it's able to help so many people, so we're excited about that.
So we're seeing more and more larger police departments go to this system. Are we just getting aboard now?
I think the deal is we are seeing more and more departments go to it, but a lot of places that still has potential growth.
Okay. Okay.
It's for planned growth. So if you look at one of our beat maps, it may say 74 and the adjoining beat could be 68. But because we know that that area can become more dense in the next 2 years, we have to account for that.
Okay.
I laugh when Mary talked about the not knowing the unit number. I called in last week, a week before last, right after this started, on a service channel because I didn't know where I was at. I knew where I was at physically, so I said, this is 9804, and I'm not sure where I'm at, but I'm out with this disabled vehicle at 288 southbound. And the dispatcher had been there a long time, and she's like, well, I know where you're at. Are you asking about what radio channel you should be on? I'm like, yeah, you're right. So
Right.
it has been a learning curve, but I think it's good for growth of the county and continuity of calls for service and response
And I
times.
think the younger officers will adapt to it quicker
yes.
by far than,
Yes.
again,
People who've been in 20, 30 years, yes.
yeah. I thank you for that.
But we will all learn.
Yeah, we will learn.
Well, do you all have anything else you'd like to add about this position, or you'd like the listeners to know about the jobs you do?
Absolutely. We are hiring, like I said, starting June 7th, so that's right around the corner. We're very excited. We want as many people to apply as can. We've got some great benefits. Career development opportunities and positions to move up are always opening up, and we're really excited. Just like Sierra said, she's been here 6 years and she's already an assistant supervisor, and she's excellent. We are so happy to have her on our team. We also have paid time off, tuition reimbursement, VRS, the retirement
insurance and all.
system, insurance. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it.
And they have to be 18.
You have to be 18 by hire date. So if you're 17, you can apply. And then as long as you're 18 by hire date, we'll work with that. This is a little bit of a change, but we're trying to get a broader pool of applicants.
That's good.
That's good.
I mean,
That's really
they
good.
can start a Virginia retirement system,
System, yep.
deferred compensation, paid time off.
Yeah.
There are a lot of benefits that come along with this.
Exactly.
And Mary, can you tell us what the starting salary is?
Yeah, the starting salary is $38,209, and that's really not bad, especially if you're coming straight out of high school
Right.
Yeah, that's,
yeah.
that's
with
good.
benefits and everything else.
That's great.
That's very good.
Well, we appreciate both of your time today. I'd like for my listeners to know, or our listeners to know, they can go to Chesterfield911.com. That's Chesterfield911.com to apply for the emergency communication officer's position, as well as ChesterfieldPD.com to apply to be a police officer or a police service aide with the department.
Awesome.
Daryl, I appreciate
Again,
your time.
another one, another
Yes.
great podcast and talking to part of our community. Again, the Emergency Communication Center, of course, is part of the police department, is our lifeline.
And we appreciate you all coming in.
Yeah,
We
thank you
appreciate
all.
the jobs you do.
Yep.
We know it's stressful.
Well, thank you for
Awesome.
having us.
Thank you for having us.
Keep doing what you're doing.